Hi, my name is Nausheen and my topic is environmental justice. What do you think about environment? Your mind might conjure up images of rambling rivers, peaceful woodlands, or scenic mountains. However, a definition of environment is the surroundings or condition in which a person lives. By this definition, the environment will include your home, place of work, schools, and community parks. These are the places you spend your time and they play a big role in your overall health, happiness, and well being. The United States Environmental Protection Agency defines the environmental justice as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people regardless of race, color, national origin, or income with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. In other words, your health should not suffer because of the environment where you live, work, play, or learn. The concept of environmental justice began as a movement in 1980s due to the realization that polluting industries, power plants, and waste disposal areas were located near low-income or minority communities. The movement was set in a place to ensure fair distribution of environment burdens among all people regardless of their background. Environmental justice issues and examples of environment burdens that may be considered under the umbrella of environmental justice cover many aspects of community life. These burdens can include any environmental pollutant, hazard, or disadvantage that compromises the health of a community or its residents. For instance, one of the environmental justice issue and example is inadequate access of healthy food. Certain communities, lower income or minority communities, often lack supermarkets or other sources of healthy and affordable foods. Another issue is inadequate transportation. While public transportation may be available in urban areas, policies must be monitored to avoid cuts in service and fare hikes that make it difficult for community residents and pursue employment or an adequate living standard. Air, Air and water pollution are major environmental justice issues because many lower income or minority communities are located near industrial plants or waste disposal sites. Air and water quality can suffer if not properly monitored. Older homes are more likely to have lead-based paint that can chip and find its way into the dust and soil surrounding the home, leading to illness. These houses may also be prone to structural problems, molds, or other hazards and put residents at higher risk of health problems. 10 Principles of Environmental Justice. 1. Environmental justice affirms the sacredness of Mother Earth, ecological unity, and the interdependence of all species, and the right to be free from ecological destruction. 2. Environmental justice demands that public policy be based on mutual respect and justice for all people, free from any form of discrimination or bias. 3. Environmental justice maintains the right to ethical balance and responsible uses of land and renewable sources in the interest of sustainable planet for humans of other living things. 4. Environmental justice calls for universal protection from nuclear testing, extraction, production, and disposal of toxics, hazardous waste, and poison, and nuclear testing that retain the fundamental right to clean air, land, water, and food. 5. Environmental justice opposes military occupation, repression, and exploitation of lands, people, and culture, and other life forms. 6. Environmental justice calls for the education of present and future generations, which emphasizes social and environmental issues based on our experience and an appreciation to our diverse culture perspectives. 7. Environmental justice calls for the strict enforcement of principles of informed consent and a halt of testing of experimental reproductive and medical procedure and vaccination on people of color. 8. Environmental justice opposes the destructive operation of multinational corporations. 9. Environmental justice requires that we as individuals make personal and consumer choices to consume as little as possible and make the decision to challenge and reprioritize our lifestyle to ensure the health of the natural world for present and future generations. 10. Environmental justice demands the right to participate as equal partners at every level of decision making, including needs assessment, planning, implementation, enforcement, and evaluation. Let us see about some of the importance of environmental justice. 1. It defines humans' relationship with the environment. The human relationship with the environment revolves around the perception and value and the role that these two play in our behavior and lives. One thing that shapes our value is justice. It derives and shapes us into being who we are. Most people recoil against injustice towards other humans and other species of living organisms. Those who are empowered on environmental injustice understands that it's protect humanity and other lives by protecting the environment. 2. It highlights the importance of conservation and fair usage of natural resource. People get to conserve natural resource when they follow environmental justice. Given that communities debate over justice when it comes to distributing available resources like water fairly, it ensures the resources are used wisely. For instance, unfair distribution and usage of natural resources can be dangerous, especially in areas where there are scarce. 3. It defines the need for just distribution of resources. Distributive justice, because it is not wrong for one person to have more resources than others. Distributive justice is not about equally sharing resources. Just distribution of resource revolves around how the people involved are involved with one another. Justice applies not when one has more resource than others, but if one takes resource from another person's environment. It also applies when one has more resource than they need while other is suffering or lacking any. This is injustice. Environmental justice thus emphasizes on the law of distribution. 4. It strengthens environmental laws, policies and regulations. Environmental justice requires that we make our choices both personally and as a consumer to consume as little as we can of the earth's resources and produce as little waste as we can. We have to make decisions to repetize and challenge our lifestyle in order to ensure a healthy world from the current and future generations. Energy and environmental justice. While looking at nuclear power, coal, oil and gas, biomass and hydroelectric power, one can see potential environmental justice issue with each energy option. Nuclear power. Nuclear power has affected communities of color in the past. The impact has occurred by mining uranium on Native American lands, placing uranium enrichment facilities in Black and Hispanic communities, and placing lower-level nuclear waste disposable sites in non-white communities. Nuclear reactors, especially older ones, have a higher potential to pollute the surroundings, air and water with radioactive pollution. In the United States, new nuclear power reactors are being planned and built. One of the most recently planned and built nuclear reactor is located at Calhoun County, Mississippi, a demographical 82% African American country. Let's see about coal and gas. Coal, it is 68% of African American lives within 30 miles of a coal-powered energy resource. This distance is close enough in which the smokestack plume and pollution's maximum effects are expected to occur. In contrast, around 56% of the white pollution lives within 13 miles of these coal-powered plants. These statistics show that coal-powered plants affect African communities. Oil and gas. New gas and oil pipelines have been proposed to be built around the United States. One proposed project would construct an Alaskan natural gas pipeline to deliver natural gas to the lower continental 48 states. This area is which the oil and gas drilling will occur in northern Alaska inhabited. Biomass incineration. Incinerators have largely been located in low income or minority communities. The pollution that these plants give off contaminated the local air and water system. The result of this biomass incineration facility can lead to an increase in disability and disease, which led to increased medical costs for these low income areas. Hydroelectric power. Proposed hydroelectric dams in Canada will flood large areas of land that are traditional Native American lands. This process will displace these people from their homes while also harming their historical sites and burial grounds in these areas. Hope you like this video, and special thanks to Lala Lajpatrai College.